And the thing is, it's all about safe harbor and where you end up. And like we said, in cases like this, you know, if the city was going to mandate and states were going to mandate that we do not run credit or screening criminal background, then and with the high rate of recidivism, it's just likely that person's going to commit a crime. And then how do we defend ourselves in cases like that? So to me, it's kind of like a no-win situation. And people like Reggie are saying the fact that one of the reasons there's such a high recidivism rate for felons and people that come out because they can't get a job, they can't get a house, so they resort to crime. Well, you know, and this whole thing where, you know, you said you paid your price, you served your time, this, that, and the other, which is all well and good. But we have to deal with the reality of where that puts us in terms of this. So it's going to be a tough fight, and so many other states and jurisdictions are really looking at the Seattle case to figure out where they're going to end up in all of this, and that's something that we're going to be polling and talking with all our members about is some kind of position and where we kind of think this is going to go. So maybe, Harold, it'd be a good time before I get into the other subject that maybe you could expound on what's your thoughts on where this is going to take us in terms of legality.
This is one of the top non-paying positions I have, called friendship. You've got to take a look at the big picture. Many years ago, I approached a member of City Council, the president of City Council. He had been an All-American at USC. And I'm a small guy. He puts his arm around me like this and said, 80% of my constituents are tenants. What do you want me to do? And with that, I understood exactly. We're talking politics. It's not just law, it is politics, where the votes are. And when you take a look at this, you hit it right on the nail. You and I are deep pockets, and they look at us that way. Who is going to get sued? We as attorneys, we have civil rights also. Why are we always being set up? Because that's why the politicians right now on City Council, and I've been on Democratic County Committee, State Committee, you have 14 people that are non-Republicans. You had one Republican, and he just resigned, as you know, Englander. Same thing on the Board of Supervisors. There is one Republican. We can count on her vote. We can't count on these Democratic votes. The one that's killing us is frankly Hahn. In addition to that, Sheila Cure. And I'm not trying to diverge, but it's more than the law. In other words, just because somebody presents legislation, particularly now when the session has just started, doesn't necessarily mean it's going to pass or they think it's going to pass. They're trying to please their constituents, and we've got to understand that. Now, what Malcolm was talking about is as far as liability. It's the same thing with dogs. If you remember the coach up at Berkeley that was killed by a dog, the owner got sued $2 million. The person who owned the dog went to jail on a manslaughter. By jail, I meant state prison. Now, we're in the same position. You're due if you don't, and you're caught if you don't. We have no choice. What the bill is talking about and what they're talking about is you cannot do a criminal investigation until you are willing to take the applicant as a tenant. Then you can do it. So who's going to pay for that? You're going to pay for that one way or the other. What we have to do as a group and as individuals, because we're protecting our livelihood, we've all worked hard for what we're doing. We're the ones that get the phone calls the night of a holiday. The water heater went, this went, etc. We're the providers. The government is the worst slumlord, particularly in LA. If anybody's been to the court facilities. You go in fact, I won a case on that. I actually took pictures of the men's bathroom and showed it to the judge. That's what you find. Who wants to live in a government project? What you've got to do when Malcolm comes across with the various legislation, we've got to contact our legislators. You've got to let them know, because we're the ones that vote, we're the ones that pay the taxes, because so many people that are voting to make you pay more property taxes, why? They're tenants. They're not going to pay the property taxes. You're going to pay them. So basically, vote early and vote often.